Chancellor Draco's mocking laughter echoed through the grand Tellarite hall as the alien sneered at Roger Skora, Earth's first deep space explorer. The technologically advanced yet arrogant Tellarite empire saw humans as useless primitives, not even worth an alliance. Roger clenched his fists, taking a deep breath. He had to keep his cool. This first contact mission was vital. Establishing relations with the Tellarites could propel humanity forward by centuries, but Draco just scoffed at Roger's every diplomatic overture. To drive home human inferiority, the Chancellor took Roger on a tour of the glittering Tellarite capital. Towering crystal spires pierced the clouds. Sleek anti-grav vehicles whizzed by. Android servants catered to every Tellarite whim. Roger had to admit it was impressive, until they reached the city zoo. "Behold, our most exotic and prized exhibits," Draco proclaimed with a smug grin. "Some of the universe's most incredible creatures." Roger's jaw dropped as he spotted the exhibits. Lions, tigers, bears, wolves, animals from Earth. The zoo guide proudly explained how Tellarite scouts had acquired the beasts on previous missions, prizing their ferocity and feral power. But to Roger, pieces fell into place. He understood now what the Tellarites respected: dominance, control, apex predators. Back at the increasingly tense diplomatic talks, Roger struggled to stay calm as Draco belittled humanity further. "You humans are so weak and pitiful, better suited as zoo attractions than allies." The Chancellor sneered. Roger's knuckles whitened as he gripped the table, but then he had a flash of inspiration. "You think those Earth animals are apex predators?" Roger replied with a tight smile. "On our world, they answer to a higher power, humans. We domesticated wolves into loyal dogs. Lions and tigers perform for our entertainment. Those beasts are not Earth's dominant species. We are." Draco scoffed in disbelief. Roger pressed his advantage. "You doubt human superiority? Let me prove it. I'll enter your zoo's enclosures and interact with those deadly Earth animals. If I succeed in taming them, you open formal relations with humanity. If not, well, I'll remove one inferior human from the equation." The Tellarite leader's eyes narrowed. Surely this arrogant Earthling would be ripped apart. It was a no-lose scenario. "Challenge accepted, little human. Prepare to be an amusing bloodstain." Draco chuckled darkly. The stage was set. Word of the audacious diplomatic gambit spread like wildfire. Crowds of sneering Tellarites gathered to watch the spectacle, eager to see the puny human torn to shreds. Roger's crewmates looked on in horror, fearing for his life. Roger took a deep breath as he approached the enclosures, the event being broadcast planet-wide to billions of viewers. Humanity's reputation, its very future on the galactic stage, hung in the balance. He had to show these Xenos what a human was capable of. Steeling his courage, Roger prepared to face down Earth's mightiest beasts and prove once and for all that in the deadly pecking order of the universe, humans reigned supreme. One man, alone, against monsters, with everything to prove and the highest stakes imaginable. There was no margin for error. Humanity's fate would be decided here, in the blood-soaked dirt of an alien zoo, broadcasted for all to see. Roger stepped forward as the cage doors opened. The challenge had begun. The cage doors creaked open, the sound echoing through the suddenly hushed Tellarite crowd. Roger stepped into the wolf enclosure first, his heart pounding. The pack watched him warily, hackles raised and teeth bared. Roger locked eyes with the alpha, a massive gray beast with piercing yellow eyes. He straightened his back and squared his shoulders, projecting an aura of calm confidence. The wolf snarled, but Roger didn't flinch. They stared each other down for a long, tense moment. Then, slowly, the wolf lowered its head and broke eye contact, a sign of submission. Roger approached carefully and extended his hand. The wolf sniffed it, then allowed Roger to stroke its coarse fur. The crowd murmured in astonishment. In the lion enclosure, Roger faced a pride of snarling big cats, He stomped his feet and shouted, "Down! Stay!" The lions roared back, but Roger held his ground. He grabbed a large stick and pointed it at the lions like a makeshift whip. Gradually, the lions stopped roaring and laid down, accepting Roger's dominance. He walked among them unscathed as they watched him cautiously. The tigers were more playful than aggressive. They mock-charged at Roger, but he nimbly dodged their swipes, anticipating their movements. From his pack, he pulled some large hoop-shaped objects and held them up. Using the promise of treats, he coaxed the tigers to jump through the hoops on his command. The crowd gasped as the massive cats performed tricks like circus animals. Things got dicey in the bear enclosure. The huge grizzlies were not impressed by Roger's posturing. They reared up on their hind legs and roared, towering over him. Thinking fast, Roger pulled out a small hollow projector from his pack. He hastily programmed it to project images of even bigger, meaner-looking bears. The grizzlies paused, confused and intimidated by these suddenly appearing rivals. Roger seized the moment to assert himself as top bear, and the grizzlies backed down, cowed. Draco was starting to sweat as he watched Roger succeed again and again. The human was not just surviving, but thriving in the enclosures, bending Earth's apex predators to his will. The crowd grew more amazed with each victory. Maybe these humans were made of sterner stuff. For the grand finale, Roger faced down a pack of mutant dire wolves, monstrous creatures twice the size of normal wolves, engineered by Tellarite scientists to be the ultimate killing machines. But Roger was in the zone now. He howled loud and fierce, challenging the dire wolf alpha. The huge beast lunged, but Roger dodged and smacked its nose hard enough to make it yelp. Chastened, the alpha submitted, and the rest of the pack followed suit. Roger stood tall among the dire wolves, unafraid and unscathed. He was the undisputed pack leader. As Roger exited the final enclosure, the crowd was dead silent before erupting into shocked applause. Enraged but faced with undeniable proof of Roger's badassery, Draco spat out through gritted teeth. "Well fought, human. It seems your species is worthy of our notice. We will open discussions with your Earth." Overnight, Roger became a celebrity. Viral videos of his dominance displays spread planet-wide. Tellarites spoke of him in awed tones. Some began using the term apex primes to describe humans, the badasses at the top of the galactic food chain. Roger leveraged his fame to push for stronger ties between Earth and Tellar. Trade deals were signed, cultural exchanges arranged. Roger taught elite Tellarite forces some of his animal taming techniques. A new era of cross-species cooperation dawned. But in the shadows, a hardcore conservative faction of Tellarites seethed at this turn of events. Led by Draco's hawkish rival Zarthax, these hardliners viewed humans as a threat to the natural order. "Humans aren't allies. They will dominate us next," Zarthax hissed to his followers. "We must stop them now before it's too late. Draco has gone soft, but I will do what must be done to keep humans in their place." As the dust settled from Roger's epic zoo challenge, not everyone on Tellar Prime celebrated the newfound alliance with humanity. In the shadows of the glittering capital, Commander Zarthax seethed with rage. He paced his private chambers, fists clenched as he addressed a group of like-minded hardliners. "We cannot allow these primitives to gain a foothold in our society," Zarthax growled. "They'll corrupt our way of life, weaken us from within. We must act now to preserve Tellarite superiority." The gathered officers nodded in agreement. They formulated a plan to sabotage the burgeoning partnership, starting with covert strikes against joint human Tellarite facilities. Over the next few weeks, a series of mysterious attacks rocked outposts and research centers across Tellarite space. Advanced cloaking technology left no traces of the perpetrators. Human and Tellarite casualties mounted as confusion and suspicion grew. Roger Scora found himself working around the clock alongside Chancellor Draco, poring over incident reports and sensor logs. "There has to be a pattern here," Roger muttered, rubbing his tired eyes. "But whoever's behind this knows our systems inside and out." Draco nodded grimly. I fear we may be dealing with internal saboteurs, but I can't accuse anyone without proof. As the attacks escalated, cracks began to form in the alliance. Human diplomats demanded answers Draco couldn't provide. Tellarite conservatives whispered that the humans were more trouble than they were worth. Roger refused to give up. He proposed a bold plan to Draco: joint military exercises between human and Tellarite forces. We need to build trust through shared experiences, Roger explained. Plus, it'll make our combined defenses stronger. Draco agreed, and soon mixed units of humans and Tellarites were training side by side. During one such exercise, Corporal Marcus Jennings found himself crouched behind a boulder with a Tellarite named Grok. Suddenly, live fire erupted around them. "This isn't part of the drill!" Grok shouted. Before Marcus could respond, he spotted a plasma grenade arcing towards them. Without hesitation, he tackled Grok to the ground, shielding the Tellarite with his own body. The blast sent shrapnel tearing into Marcus's back. As Marcus lay bleeding, Grok and his fellow Tellarites sprang into action. They applied field medicine techniques they'd learned from the humans, working frantically to stabilize Marcus's condition. "Stay with us, you crazy human," Grok muttered as he applied pressure to the wounds. "Don't you dare die on me." News of Marcus's sacrifice spread like wildfire. Draco himself visited the recovering soldier in the hospital, pinning a Medal of Valor on his chest. The Tellarite leader's voice cracked with emotion as he addressed the assembled media. "This brave human exemplifies the spirit of our alliance," Draco declared. "Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart." But even as public support for the partnership grew, Zarthax's desperation reached a fever pitch. He gathered his most loyal followers for a final, audacious strike. "We will end this farce once and for all," Zarthax hissed. "During the upcoming summit, we'll eliminate Draco and the human delegation in one fell swoop. The alliance will crumble, and Tellar will be great again." On the day of the summit, Roger's security team worked tirelessly, screening attendees and scanning for threats. At the last moment, an alert flashed across their monitors: unauthorized access in the building's lower levels. Roger and a mixed team of human and Tellarite operatives raced to intercept the intruders. They found Zarthax and his cohorts mere meters from the main conference chamber, weapons drawn. "Stand down!" Roger shouted, his own blaster leveled at Zarthax. "It's over." For a tense moment, it seemed Zarthax might try to fight his way out. But seeing himself surrounded by a united front of humans and Tellarites, the fight drained from his eyes. He dropped his weapon and raised his hands in surrender. In the aftermath, Draco addressed a joint session of human and Tellarite representatives. He promised swift justice for the conspirators and reaffirmed his commitment to the alliance. As applause filled the chamber, Roger allowed himself a small smile. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but humanity had found its place among the stars. In the aftermath of Zarthax's failed coup, Roger stood before the joint Human-Tellarite Council, his eyes alight with excitement. "We've proven we're stronger together," he said. "Now let's show the galaxy what we can accomplish. I propose a joint deep space expedition to explore, to discover, to push the boundaries of our knowledge side by side." Chancellor Draco stroked his bristly chin, considering. After a moment, he nodded. "Agreed. We'll commission a new starship for this venture, the Terra Nova. My top scientific advisor, Grelak, will lead our contingent." Grelak, a stout Tellarite with tufted gray fur, stepped forward. "It would be my honor, Chancellor." Months of feverish preparation followed. The Terra Nova took shape in orbital dry dock, a sleek vessel jam packed with sensors and science labs. Humans and Tellarites worked side by side, learning each other's strengths and quirks. Finally, launch day arrived. Roger stood on the bridge, surveying his diverse crew. "Let's make history," he said, and gave the order to depart. The Terra Nova cruised through uncharted space for weeks before stumbling upon their first major discovery: a lush green world teeming with life. As they entered orbit, the sensors lit up. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings," reported Ensign Chen, particularly from those insect-like creatures swarming near the equator. Roger leaned forward, intrigued. On screen. The view screen showed bizarre, iridescent creatures that seemed to dance on invisible currents. Arcs of energy crackled between their antennae. Fascinating, muttered Grellick. They appear to be manipulating localized energy fields. We must study this further. For days, the crew conducted extensive surveys and research. Scientists from both species worked in tandem, marveling at each new discovery. Their elation was cut short when alarms blared across the ship. The Terra Nova shuddered violently. "Report," Roger barked. "Massive ion storm, sir," shouted Lieutenant Reeves. "Our systems are going haywire." Roger gripped his chair as the ship bucked. "Take us down. Emergency landing procedures." The Terra Nova plummeted through the atmosphere, barely maintaining control. With a bone-jarring impact, they slammed into a clearing. As the dust settled, Roger took stock. "Damage report?" "Multiple systems offline," Grelak replied grimly. "We'll need extensive repairs before we can leave the surface." Suddenly, a blood-curdling roar echoed through the ship. Roger rushed to a view screen and his blood ran cold. Massive, armored reptiles were converging on the Terra Nova from all directions. "All hands, battle stations," Roger commanded. "We need to buy time for repairs." The crew scrambled to defend their crippled ship. Phaser fire lit up the alien jungle as the monstrous creatures attacked again and again. In the chaos, Grellick found himself cornered by one of the beasts. Its slavering jaws opened wide, ready to snap shut on the Tellarite scientist. "Hey, ugly!" a voice rang out. Private Jake Henderson stood nearby, waving his arms. "Come get some!" The creature turned, distracted. Jake took off running, leading it away from Grellick. The Marine ducked and weaved through the underbrush, using every trick in his training to keep ahead of the relentless predator. Finally, Jake led it into a prepared trap. A well-placed grenade sent the beast fleeing back into the jungle. Grellick stared at Jake in awe. You saved my life." Jake grinned and clapped the Tellarite on the shoulder. "That's what shipmates do." After days of frantic work, the Terra Nova was space-worthy once more. But as they attempted to break orbit, a new crisis emerged. "Sir, we're caught in some kind of gravitational trap," Ensign Chen reported. "I've never seen readings like this." For weeks, the crew analyzed the phenomenon. Finally, Grellick burst onto the bridge, out of breath. "We've found it! An ultra-dense celestial body, unlike anything in our databases." Roger's eyes gleamed. "Prep a shuttle. We're going to take a closer look." As Roger and Grellick piloted their craft towards the anomaly, a massive structure came into view. It was unmistakably artificial, a sprawling network of metal and composite materials built around a tiny, pitch-black sphere. "A miniature black hole," Grellick breathed, "contained within an ancient megastructure. Incredible." They docked with the construct and made their way inside. After navigating twisting corridors, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with humming data cores. "The knowledge of an entire civilization," Roger marveled, "just waiting to be unlocked." The Terra Nova crew threw themselves into decrypting and studying the alien database. Breakthroughs came fast and furious. Revolutionary propulsion theories, energy manipulation techniques, even hints at trans-dimensional travel. Excited by their findings, Roger composed a transmission to Earth and Teller. "We've found something amazing out here," he said. "Sending coordinates now. Come see for yourselves." But their jubilation was short-lived. Mere hours after sending the message, space around the megastructure lit up with hundreds of hyperspace windows. A vast armada of alien warships surrounded them. A booming voice filled the Terra Nova's bridge. "Attention intruders. You have trespassed on Vorax territory. Surrender the artifact immediately or be destroyed." Roger and Grellick exchanged grim looks. They were vastly outnumbered and outgunned, but they couldn't let this priceless discovery fall into the wrong hands. "All hands to battle stations," Roger ordered. "We need to hold out until reinforcements arrive. The fate of two civilizations may depend on it. As the Vorax fleet closed in, Roger steeled himself for the fight of his life. The true test of the human-Tellarite alliance was about to begin. Roger's fingers flew across the control panel as the hostile alien fleet surrounded them. Alarms blared throughout the Terra Nova, and the view screen filled with the ominous sight of countless enemy vessels. "Grelak, we need options!" Roger shouted over the cacophony. The Tellarite scientist's eyes darted between holographic displays. "The megastructure's defense systems. If we can activate them, it might buy us time." Crew members raced through the ancient corridors, frantically working to decipher and reactivate long-dormant technologies. Ensign Chen's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, we've got partial shields online, but weapons are still offline." Roger's mind raced. He stared at the miniature black hole contained within the megastructure, an idea forming. "Grelak, the engines. Could we use the black hole's gravity?" Grelak's eyes widened. "It's theoretically possible, but incredibly dangerous." "It's our only shot," Roger said. "Let's do it." They worked feverishly, reprogramming the Terra Nova's systems based on the alien knowledge they'd uncovered. Sweat beaded on Roger's forehead as he input the final calculations. "All hands, brace for impact!" Roger called out. He gripped the controls, steering the ship directly towards the heart of the enemy fleet. The Terra Nova shuddered as enemy fire pummeled its shields. Roger's teeth clenched as he pushed the engines to their limit. At the last possible second, he engaged the reconfigured drive. Space itself seemed to warp around them. A colossal gravitational vortex erupted from the Terra Nova, engulfing the surrounding alien ships. Metal twisted and shattered as the artificial singularity tore through the enemy fleet. Screams of terror filled the comm channels as alien crews were pulled into the abyss. Roger fought against the controls, the ship barely holding together as they skirted the event horizon. With a final, desperate maneuver, he wrenched the Terra Nova free of the black hole's grasp. "Status report!" he barked. "We've taken heavy damage, sir," Lieutenant Reeves responded, "but sensors show we've destroyed over a third of the enemy fleet." Meanwhile, aboard the megastructure, Grelak raced between ancient control panels. He activated a shimmering energy shield just as another wave of alien ships opened fire. The barrier held, but hairline fractures began to spread across its surface. Grelak's fur stood on end as he accessed deeper levels of the alien systems. He uncovered a device capable of shifting matter across dimensions. With trembling hands, he input commands. Space rippled around clusters of enemy ships. In an instant, they vanished, scattered across parallel realities. Grelak sagged against the console, his life force draining with each use of the godlike technology. As human and Tellarite reinforcements arrived, Grelak used his last breath to transmit vital coordinates. "Find them," he wheezed, "scattered across realities." Roger, having narrowly escaped the black hole, took command of the Allied fleet. Over the next 2 years, they embarked on a grueling campaign, hunting down the displaced alien vessels across multiple dimensions. The final battle raged across a shattered multiverse. Human and Tellarite ships, now equipped with recovered alien tech, clashed with the remnants of the enemy fleet. When the dust settled, the threat was finally neutralized. In the aftermath, a solemn ceremony honored the fallen. Human and Tellarite leaders stood side by side, vowing to protect the ancient knowledge they'd nearly lost. Research teams delved into the megastructure's secrets, ushering in an era of unprecedented advancement for both species. But far beyond known space, a lone alien ship drifted. Its crew, consumed by vengeance, pored over fragments of data. They uncovered references to a prime construct, a vast network of megastructures spanning the galaxy. The alien captain's eyes gleamed with madness. "We will find it," he hissed, "and then we will have our revenge." As the rogue ship charted a new course, the seeds of conflict took root once more. The hard-won peace secured by Roger and his allies faced an unseen threat, one that could shatter the very foundations of their alliance.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.